Okay, so we've just recently had another state of the game, and I want to talk to you guys about the changes coming to the NPC behaviour, because a lot of us know that it's pretty much broken at this point. For the most part, the state of the game was, it wasn't the best. It was disappointing, if you want to put it that way, but there is a few things in there that were very interesting to listen to, in terms of how the game's developed, how they work on their programming and things like that. So in this video, I want to talk about the things that will be coming next week in Title Update 3.1. I believe it's going to be on the Friday, because the Thursday when it would normally come out is a public holiday for the dev team. So we'll quickly go through these notes. Starting with the raid updates, there are currently no plans to change the difficulty of the raid at all. There was the Roosevelt Island progression blocker, that's been fixed. There was confusion about C4 not working properly in Roosevelt Island as well. That was just something that wasn't explained properly. You can find C4 in multiple containers, it's not always set to be in the same one. So that wasn't actually a bug, that was just a miscommunication. The Black Tusk Commander masks and some other masks appear to be smaller and offset. That's going to be fixed in the Title Update 3.1, we call it TU 3.1. The option to loot as junk not being available anymore, that was removed accidentally and it's going to be fixed in TU 3.1. Are weapons going invisible? This has mainly happened to me trying to take down Razorback in the raid. Basically, you spawn in, you can't see your guns, it doesn't deal damage because your guns aren't there. They're going to be working on it. They found a couple of cases where it happens during internal tests, and they're going to be fixing it soon. But if you need to get rid of it there and then, what you can do for the time being is go into your inventory, click on your secondary gun to make it your primary, and then basically switch the guns out. So in slot 1, if you have a P416 and slot 2 you have the Nemesis, put the Nemesis in your slot 1 so the P416 goes into slot 2, and then switch them back, that'll fix it. Apparently a cause of weapons not dealing damage, or seemingly not dealing damage, is happening if players are trying to reload and switch weapons at the same time. A fix has not yet been found for it, but there is a workaround. You can reload the weapon again and it should resolve it. Some players in Asia are stuck in a loop when they're starting the game and they're not able to download or start the patch process. You can rename your Division 2 folders to only include Latin letters, and that should fix it for the time being. Semi-auto weapons, so like the MK17 and stuff, they've had their fire rate decreased since Title Update 3, and that's not intended, so that's going to be fixed in TU 3.1. Players not being able to progress to World Tier 5, that's been fixed as far as we're aware. Sound issues, they're saying they need more detail about it because people are literally just saying they've got a sound bug, they're not explaining things that could possibly cause it, they're not saying when and where it happens. Off the top of my head, I can't actually think of what could cause it, but an explanation would be if I start shooting my P416, once I stop, it just carries on with the sound loop. But then you also have things like where the sound completely cuts out and then catches up a few seconds later, so it overlaps. They've also fixed players should have their arm patches now for completing the raid in the first week, and they've mentioned that TU4 is going to bring some new content into the Division 2. They don't have any details on it at the moment, they're still working on it, but they have said it will contain a 4th specialisation. People are saying it's going to be a bazooka, people are saying it's going to be a minigun, but we're not 100% sure what it's going to be. We're just going to have to wait until TU4 comes out, or unless they release other details beforehand. And then the main topic of the video is the NPC's behaviour. And this is what I found interesting about the state of the game. You had the lead AI designer, I think that's what his role is within the development team. He was sat there talking to Hamish about how it all works, and it's still using the same Snowdrop engine that was used for Division 1, but they've basically made it, there's not much difference being made to it, but the way he explained it, what I picked up from it anyway, was normally in the development of NPCs and things, you would have a command for one of their behaviours, and if you open up that command, it's got 10 to 15 different nodes in that all basically work together. That's the coding so that command works. Whereas they use a low-level programming kind of style, I'm not entirely sure. But the way it works, instead of having 10 to 15 different nodes for each behaviour, they have 30,000, I think he said. And it's crazy to think NPCs can be controlled under 10 to 15 different nodes. The devs at Division 2 are using 30,000 nodes. So there's a lot more depth, I'm going to have to say depth. There's a huge amount of depth into making the NPCs behave the way they want. And from what I picked up, if one node comes out of place and doesn't work properly, you kind of have to go through the entire thing to find where the problem is and fix it. So that's why sometimes NPCs are going to teleport, their hitboxes aren't affected, but they teleport for no reason. That's also why you see the animations messing up. We had the T-pose where they died, they just got stuck there. And now you have things like in the raid, they're very aggressive, they always push to try and melee you, and at the same time they're running around like Usain Bolt's just been given some speed. So basically, if you think of it in more depth, we see it as an NPC, they're running around, they melee us, they run away, and that's all we see pretty much because we're just the gamer. But the developers that have programmed it will see they programmed this NPC to have all these different things going on, all these different nodes that work to build up their behaviours. And instead of being able to get around the player, get behind them and hit them, what they're doing is instead getting stuck and they're like, oh shit, this is where we're supposed to attack. And that's why they're doing their melee attacks right in front of you, and that's why they're rushing. They're trying to get around behind you, but there's something wrong with the programming. And they're going to be working on fixes. Hopefully it's fixed properly in TU 3.1, but obviously anything can go wrong internally. Something could happen when they release it and it could break something else. We don't know yet, so we're just going to have to wait and see. But so the video isn't 6 hours long of me rambling on about what I've picked up from the devs talking about how they programmed the game, we're going to leave the video there. I want to know in the comments what you guys think. Is there anything that I've misheard, like not understood fully from the devs? Or is it actually that crazy to where you have to put that many different nodes into one behaviour? Because we just see the NPCs like let's go with a medic. We see the NPC comes into the game, like spawns in, he's got his medic bag, he goes around and revives. They have to go into all the separate nodes and make sure that his hands can be animated to go to his like defib pack or whatever. And then he's also got to have the behaviour so that he can actually go and revive down like teammates. But we've all been very quick to jump on the devs for fucking the game up and not developing it properly and all the rest of it. I've been an absolute nightmare recently towards the devs. I've pretty much not had a good word to say. I will continue to play the game regardless. But it was nice to watch the state of the game, pick up on what the devs are actually doing, like how they work behind the scenes, because we just see it as a game. They have a lot of depth they have to work with. And if you think back to Division 1, it took them like 2 years to get that game right. All we can do is just hope and pray it doesn't take that long with this game. And as long as they keep introducing new content and stuff like that, I think it's going to be a good time. I enjoy this game as it is. The game can only improve. But for now, that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.